So I'm not saying that if you do all these things that I'm going to mention here that you won't ever be hurt again. I'm saying that if you do these things, you won't break. Only your heart will. And that's a lot easier to heal than trying to heal yourself in totality. You know? You know what I'm saying? Hey, girlfriends. Welcome back to the Hey Girlfriend podcast. I'm your host, mindset and intuitive coach, Kindall D. Back with another episode. So, today I want to talk to the girlies that are still lover girls at heart, but keep getting their heart stomped on. You know, you keep ending up in these heartbreaking relationships. Not only heartbreaking relationships, but it's like you're being broken in the process. And to me, that's not even really a heartbreak. That's a you break, you know? I've been there. And it's like, it's hard to imagine that you can love again and not ever break their heart again. You know, I get it. I've been there. But it's like, once I realized that I have more control over my relationships, how they end, if they do end, how I am in the end, how I heal, I have more control over that than anything. And even within a relationship, I've realized I have to have me in that relationship as well. You know, we think that we get with a man and it's like they're going to come rescue us and save us, and we forget that we need ourselves as well. We need ourselves while we're in that connection too. And that's whether it's healthy or not. No matter what it is, no matter what type of relationship it is, you need you within that relationship. That's something that I realized made all the difference in me not being afraid to love again. And so I got me and I got my life while I was single, like right after those toxic relationships. You know, I had two back to back. Y'all know I talk about John and Sebastian. And I have my memoir series that I'm working on. I have John already out, working on Sebastian's as we speak. Well, not as we speak right now. Y'all know what I mean. And I'm working on Sebastian. Like, I'm serious this time. Like, my book baby's got to be out. And I'm doing it. And I'm excited about it again. So, those are out. So, catch up on that if you haven't. And I've revised Toxic X Chronicles John. And revised just means I just re-edited it. Or edited. Is that how it goes? Yeah, I edited, and my grammar is better. I read that, and like, my grammar was all horrible. So for y'all leave all those 5-star reviews on Amazon, y'all must really love me, because I'm rereading that shit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my grammar is horrible. And that's because I think I write how, I don't know, there's no excuse for it, but what I'm saying is, like, I know I have ADHD, and sometimes I have to stop myself as I'm writing and go back and realize that I just jumbled up my words because it's coming out so fast. So I'm taking my time with Sebastian. That's why I said November there will be pre-order. I may be done before then, but I know I'm going to go back and re-edit. I gotta get it right, because I want these to be like award-winning books. But anyway, I'm getting off subject. Let me stop. So, and I just want to mention it because a lot of people don't know that I have books out. Every time they come across a new podcast episode or a new post, you should write a book. Baby, I got 3 of them. Go check them out. But anyway, I'm just saying, I've realized that after those toxic relationships and moving into this healthy one with my husband now, and even while I was dating, I did not have me when I was in those toxic relationships. All of my dependence was on those men. And when you're putting your all, like your everything, into a man, you are losing yourself. And so, of course, when they leave, your heart is going to break, and so are you. You're going to break in two. You're going to be broken down. But I can say being broken down like that is not so bad, because you can rebuild yourself up even better than you were before. You'll be a totally different woman, and not the same woman that, you know, he left scorned and scathed it and hurt. So there's that too. But for all my girlies that are trying to move away from toxic relationships and still want love, but are a little bit afraid that they haven't learned their lessons, don't trust themselves to pick better, whatever. This is for you, because you don't have to have another broken heart like that. And what I mean by that is, you know, you don't have to have a broken heart to where you are breaking. It can just be your heart is hurting and you'll heal and you move forward. Not the kind of heartbreak to where you have to totally change who the hell you are and reinvent yourself and refine yourself because you lost yourself. You don't have to lose yourself. And you don't have to break that heart. You may just have like a broken heart. You may be hurt, but not broken to pieces. You get what I'm saying? You feel me? And I feel like that's how I am with my husband now. Like, God forbid it, anything ever happens to us and we break up for whatever reason, or he betrays me, And I'm saying that because people change like the wind. Anything can happen. I'm not naive to that, I guess I would say. And I don't expect that, because I would expect that I chosen better, and we've been together 8 years. Everything's good and gotten better. So I'm saying, but in the event that if it did happen, I would be okay. Yes, I would be hurt. I've thought about this. Like, yes, I'd be hurt and I'll probably cry. And he says the same thing. Like, yeah, I'd be hurt, but I'll move on to be all right. And I feel the same. Like, it would be messed up. It would take me to getting used to a new life, because I've had my life with him for so long. But I will, and I'd be happy with my life, and I will move on, and I'd be okay. Like, I know I will. I'm not clinging to him. My heart was breaking even while I was in those toxic relationships, It's not like at the end it broke all of a sudden. It was breaking throughout while I was with them. It's a totally different thing. And so I'm going to help you to realize that if you if you are your own safety net, your heart doesn't have to break so hard and so bad anymore. So let's get into it. This is going to be bullet points. I have like 7 that I want to go over. And yeah, let's get into it. So number one thing is, don't betray yourself, your standards, and your boundaries. So in other words, what I'm saying is, don't settle and don't adjust your needs or boundaries to accommodate him. This is how you lose yourself in the relationship, and why it hurts even more in the end, because all relationships like this are going to end. It hurts so bad in the end because, like I said before, you are literally losing yourself. And it's almost like they're taking you with them when they leave. And now you don't know who the hell you are without them. And not only that, I believe what word fits here, or what title fits here, is sunk cost fallacy, which is basically when you end up staying with someone, even though it's bad, because you have put so much time, energy, money, resources into them, and you don't want to walk away with nothing. And so in the end, to walk away with nothing, and knowing that you did all of that, you changed up your whole life, you betrayed yourself for them because you really want to keep them. You settled. You didn't abide by your standards. It was all about them. You made the whole relationship all about them and what they wanted. You were all just like, you laid yourself out and said, "Hey, I'm all here for you, whatever you want," because you were afraid of abandonment and you didn't want them to leave you. And you thought that was the way to get love. You thought that you would be paid back in love if you just laid yourself out like that. And then for it to end and you realize, damn, I did all that for nothing? Nothing. And he's just gone like the wind. Like I meant nothing to him. That hurts, to feel like that you did all of that and it wasn't enough. And you still feel like you're nothing, you're nobody to them. And it's hurt so bad because you were hoping that you would at least be something to them, that you doing all that, you would mean something to them, and that they wouldn't hurt you. You go in with the mindset that I am not going to be abandoned and left alone, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure that I prove my worth. I'm going to make sure that I'm everything he wants. I'm going to make sure that, I just fix my whole life around him. And that way, he won't be able to survive without me because, he'll love me so much and he'll fall for me so hard because I'm going to make sure I do everything to make sure that happens. And so then for it to end, it's like a blow to like your ego, your heart, your whole being. That shit hurts. I've been there. And you do not have to put yourself out there like that to get love. That's something that I had to wake up and realize. And once I realized that there's a whole other world of different men out there that, can come in loving because they have the capacity to, not because, they're going to, overwork you to get whatever love you have out of you. It doesn't work that way. And so you can say no to relationships like that, and you know that you don't have to do that. That's what I started realizing. It's like, I don't have to love this way. I don't have to settle. I can have my standards. And I did that by finding myself while I was single. And finding myself, it wasn't just me sitting cooped up in a room with a journal and shutting the world off. I actually dated. And that was my practice too. Like, I actually would date and talk to guys and then tell them no. Like, okay, this is not going to work. I see this is not going to work. And I even got caught up with one and I'm like, oh, I like him so much. And then it ended up ending. Although I was anxious the whole time while with him because I knew he didn't want anything serious. That little part of me that was still lingering around was like, well, maybe. But he cut it off, and I'm glad he did, because I would have been in a whirlwind of a toxic ass shit again. All because he was tall and attractive again. So yes, there would be lessons, but you'll learn. And so that's going to be in my third book about my dating chronicles, because child, even dating and trying to heal and grow your self-love and still want love, it's a lot. And that's my third one. I'm excited about that one. I'm excited about all of it. So yeah. Anyway, number 2, let's get on to it. Number 2, you have to work on increasing your self-love. So I find that when you love yourself, you not only choose better men to date, you're also able to allow yourself to be fully loved and fully love that better man. And you're not so afraid to fall because you know that if it happens, well, if the heartbreak happens, that you still got you. You're not putting your all and putting all your dependence of being loved in him. So you realize that he is only an addition. And then when you love you just feel safer to love others. And so I came to the conclusion because, like I said earlier in the show, it came from when I got with my husband and I'm in this secure attachment. I'm realizing that I feel safer, not because he's safer, but because I feel safer to really develop me. And I had created a life before I met him for myself that I enjoy, that I love. And I just found me during that singleness. And I knew what I would and wouldn't put up with anymore. And I knew that I'd be all right either way. And so my self-love developed for me. And I developed a oneness with my solitude, I guess I would say. And so when you are that at peace with yourself within, you bring that into a connection with someone else. And you're still, there's still your self-love there. There's still that peace within. Like, yes, you trust them, because this man has earned your trust. But you're not so afraid to love him because you're not afraid of getting heartbroken again, because you know that you can handle it if it happens. That's what it is. It's like, I know that I can get heartbroken again. And I guess that's also a good thing to have, is that reality check, is that, things can go south, but you'll be all right. And so that's how I feel. It's like I'm secure within myself, not only secure within a relationship and a connection. And it's not all solely dependent on him. Like, oh, he's such a good man, I'll be all right. Everything's going to be fine. Half of that is me. Half of that secureness and that I won't be so broken again is within me, because of how I feel about me and where I am in my journey, and how I'm still developing my own life within this good connection. I still have my own things going. I'm not solely revolving my world around a man anymore. Like, yes, he is there to add to me, but I'm not revolving my whole life around him. Even in this healthy connection, I am secure within myself and within him. And so together, we do things together. We have a connection. We have intimacy, all of that. But also, we have our own lives. And so does he. He has his own life. I have mine. And I do my own things that I want to do. And he does the same thing. And then we come together. So that's a secure, healthy connection. So when you have that amount of self-love for yourself, that's what helps you to just be able to love freely, if you will. And when I say love freely, I mean love without any bounds and love without any fear. And love without fear that you're going to just get heartbroken if you put your heart out there again. Because you've now learned with your self-love how to have boundaries, how to have standards, how to say no sometimes, how to not settle. You've learned those things. So with that self-love embodies all of that. And so with that self-love that you have now for yourself, it now has increased. You can freely love others because you are choosing better. You get what I'm saying? So think about it like that. And you may be like, well, how do I work on my self-love? How do I love myself more? In short, because if I go into that, it'll be a whole nother podcast, and this will be a 2-hour long podcast. I may do one on what you're getting wrong about self-love, because I feel like a lot of us are. Even I may have been at one time. So that may be another episode. But self-love basically is self-acceptance. It starts there, accepting yourself fully and respecting yourself fully. So don't look at it as like, oh, I gotta love every part of me. I gotta fall in love with me. That may be a little difficult to wrap your head around if you have never had love instilled in you from your upbringing, caregivers, or you never known what it was to love about you. So you have to fall into self-acceptance, I would say. And not only that, it's also discovering yourself and discovering what you need for you, and then standing on that. It's a lot of things to it. It's not just, oh, I love everything about me. It's more so think about self-acceptance and getting rid of shame so that you can fully accept yourself. Next thing, number 3. You cannot romanticize potential partners, girlfriends. You cannot. You got to stop romanticizing. Like, as soon as you meet them and they're attractive and you like them, you can't be like, oh my gosh, yes, this is the one. You don't know that yet. Or I put it this way, because I do see couples every now and then that be like, I met him and I knew he was the one soon as I met him. I will say this, if that is the case, it says 9 times out of 10 is not, but sometimes it happens, that's an exception to the rule. Every now and then there'll be someone that says, yeah, I knew right away. You still have to take your time and not romanticize the whole ordeal. You still have to get to know them to see if they meet the criteria. You may have this feeling or this vibe within you that I've met someone good, but you still have to take your time with that and let that build up. There's still a process between that and getting to the point of where you all will be together, married, or however you want to be, And so back to what I was saying, just in generally speaking, you can't romanticize potential partners. When they show you who you are, you have to believe them. You cannot paint a different picture. You can't paint something different than what they actually are laying out and showing you. And you cannot question what your intuition is trying to tell you. I know that a lot of us grew up to where our intuition was stripped from us, and we were made to question ourselves from an early age. And a lot of parents do this unknowingly, even if you had decent parents. One quick example that I can make is that, and I say this a lot, I may have said it on another podcast, because now I feel like I'm about to repeat myself, but I'm going to say it here because you may be new to my platform. But one example that a lot of parents do that don't realize that is actually taking your intuition away from your child and taking their anatomy away from them, because even at an early age, 1 and up, even babies, I don't know about babies, but you know what I'm saying. From adolescent years and up, from the point you're a child, you have anatomy and you have intuition, you have feelings, you have all of that, emotions. I feel like parents overcompensate for that because they think, oh, they're a child, I don't know, I gotta, control everything. But anyway, one thing I noticed is that, say, you walk into a room with family there, that child may have never met that aunt or that uncle sitting over there, or that grandma sitting over there. Maybe the first time meeting them, or maybe they just feel a little, off and don't want to speak right away. Here go the parents. Go over there and hug your auntie. Go over there and hug them. Go over there and do that. Go say hey to them. They like kind of force their child to go hug these strangers that may be family, but the child has never met them, or the child may need to warm up to them. But here your parents go forcing you to go over there and say something. I have parents do that to me now, and they be like, give her a hug, and I would always stop and say to the child, I actually speak to the child. I was like, it's okay if you don't want to hug me right now. Would you rather have a handshake, or maybe you come over later and warm up to me? Like, maybe they got to warm up to me. I'll say that, because I don't want, if that child look like they're kind of like, I don't know, and they're not just, willingly coming over to hug me, then I'm not going to force it, even though the parent is. I will talk to the child and tell them, it's okay, you don't have to hug me. Because I feel like that at that time, parents are so quick to try to adjust a child's ways so that they are not hurting the adults' feelings around them. But those are adults. If your feeling is hurt because a 5-year-old they want to fucking hug you, you need to go seek therapy. That's a you problem. That's not that child's problem. And so a lot of our healing comes into going back to those situations and things like that, and realizing that the adults in my life were wrong. Me as a child was not wrong to feel how I feel. And so that's what I mean about paying attention to your intuition. Sometimes we lose sight of that because of what we've been programmed and conditioned to do. And so for me, I had to realize that I had to realize that listen to my intuition is always right. I put it that way. It doesn't have to be some standard that everyone follows that I have to follow too. If I feel it ain't right for me, it ain't right. Because it's my intuition. This is my dating experience. So you can't have this attitude or this fear that maybe my intuition is wrong. I should like this person, or I should do this, or, maybe it's going to be different, or nothing like that. No, stop it. Listen to the intuition. Number 4. Stop being so damn understanding. So what I mean by this is that you have to realize that this is also, once again, your dating experience too. And you have to look out for you and what you want and need in a relationship. You can't be so understanding that you settle for not being treated the way you deserve. You have to believe that that man will go the extra mile for you and give you all the effort you deserve, and stop trying to overcompensate for what he's not able to show up and do. You can't be like out here like, oh, well, he said he can't do that because of this or that, or, oh, he's struggling right now. That's fine. I get it. But what do you want? Does that fit with what you want right now? It's okay to say this is not going to work for me. Even if, say, if he's busy, even if he's like really been busy and he can't, see you as often or date you as often. You have to determine for yourself, is this okay? Am I okay seeing him maybe once a month because he's so damn busy? Or would I prefer to have a man that's not so busy and can actually make time for me? So it's not time for you to determine and be so understanding like, oh, I'm understanding for the situation, and then you're leaving yourself shorthanded. Don't be that damn understanding. Number 5, stop moving so fast. You have to implement boundaries. So just because he likes you and wants you, you don't have to hop on that train with him. You can take your time to check if he meets your standards and needs. Even if you are warming up to him and you like him, you can continue to let it build. You do not have to jump so fast just because he seems so sure. You can still take your time. Even if you think you may like him, you can still take your time. Something else that may blow your mind, when you think about it, sometimes you can move so fast that you are moving how love bombers and narcissists move. You may not realize it because you want love real bad, and you're thinking that, I want love real bad. I'm genuine with my quote unquote moving fast, but you're also moving the same way that toxic men, narcissists, and men that want to take advantage of you and love bombers move. You're moving the same way like them. That's why when you get with them and they're moving all fast, you don't feel like anything is wrong because you want love real bad, so you're going to move real fast too. So that's where I realized I was going wrong and getting my heart broke because I was moving too damn fast. I would fall in like with these guys super quick. Like I'm writing Toxic Ex Chronicles Sebastian, and I'm working on like how I met him in the beginning. Oh my goddamn. I'm like, I was in love with this man just from one date. Like, oh my gosh, he's the y'all. I can laugh at myself now, but yes, oh my gosh, I was doing the most. I was doing the freaking most. You gotta stop moving so fast. Take your time. And then if you feel it's difficult for you to take your time because you just romanticize love and you want someone real bad, then that's something that you're going to have to check. Because you romanticizing just having someone, you're romanticizing a relationship before you even get into one because you want love so bad. That's not romantic love that you want so bad. That's probably you missing your own self-love. So get with the self-love part. That's like I mentioned earlier. And that will calm down you being so desperate for love, I would say. You know, it's okay to want romantic love. It is totally okay. But if you're getting super excited and moving so fast every time you get with someone that you like a little bit, that's causing you to miss red flags. It's causing you not to take your time to vet them properly. It's just causing a lot of disruption, and that's how you get your heart broken because you're moving so fast. So check your self-love in that department, and you'll probably find yourself that you really need your love. Number 6, don't take it personal. What I mean by this is when we take things personal, it's because we are internalizing it, and that is going to break you and your heart. So, for example, if he can't show up for you and he becomes inconsistent, doesn't put forth effort, you cannot internalize that as meaning something is wrong with you. Instead, process it and be glad that he showed you who he was, so now you can adjust and keep it moving. When we internalize things like that, we sometimes begin to chase, or we try to figure out what we need to do to gain their interest. So you gotta put a full stop to that. Look at his inconsistency as a turnoff, not as something being wrong with you. So when you take it personal, when you internalize the treatment, who knows what you end up doing? You're not thinking clearly. You're just thinking, how can I help myself with this feeling that I'm having? This feeling of worthlessness. This feeling of me being unlovable, unwanted. How can I process that he's caused? And then in your thought, you're thinking, to help me not feel this way, you start to chase. You start to figure out what you can do to be more likable, more desirable. You start looking at it as a you problem. You taking it personal. And now you're losing yourself, and that's how you are breaking your own heart. And we're breaking it even more, because the rejection hurts enough. And the inconsistency hurts enough. But now you're breaking yourself more, trying to figure out what you got to do to get them to act right. You are not responsible for how that man acts. You're not responsible for how he treats. Well, you're not responsible for... Excuse me. I don't want to say for how he treats you. You're not responsible for anything. For any of his behaviors. Any of that. So you got to stop looking at it as like it's something that you need to fix in order to be what he needs. Fuck that. Like, just in a nutshell, fuck all that. It's not something that you need to do to be with him. If that's the case, that's not for you. I had this guy I really liked rejected me once. This was after my toxic relationships and when I was trying to date better men. He rejected me. And I can say I didn't really internalize it as a me problem. Because I had looked at it eventually, like after a week of crying and being upset because I was like, dang, I just really want love bad. That's really what I was sad about, is that I really wanted it to work with someone that bad. Even though I knew this guy was probably not the one and not right for me, I liked him because, like I said, he was tall and attractive. And I was just like, and we had a good conversation, and I was hoping it would lead to somewhere he would want me. And I just wanted to be wanted finally. I wanted to be my turn finally. But he rejected me. And like a week later, I was so grateful for that. So grateful. Because I'm like, that was not for me. And once I came to, and I dried up the tears, and I came back to reality, I realized, let me slow down. That wasn't it. And I'm glad. And I met my husband. So, hey. Rejection is just meaning that that's just not the one, and that you have to get a lot of no's before you get to your yes and to your partner and to your one. So let that rejection happen. It doesn't have to say anything about you. You can't internalize it. Don't take it personal. It ain't you. It's just not for you. Because think about it also. Are you going to like every guy that you come across and meet? Aren't you going to say no sometimes? I at least hope you will. Number 7. This is my last one. Stop falling for looks only. Now, this sounds like simple, I guess I would say. Not simple, but it's like, how can that break your heart? So, yes, you need to be attracted to him. But there are also some other important things, girlfriend, that you must look for. And I feel like sometimes we fall hard for the attraction and chemistry that we forget to look for the other important factors. Or we tell ourselves that those things would just work themselves out. So even if it's not just looks and you just feel this chemistry with them and you feel this connection with them already and all, and you just feel so hot and heavy for them, that's not enough, because in healthy relationships, over time, that will wane and it will start to not be as hot and heavy. And then you got to like that person that comes up out of that. You got to like the real version of them, not just the we just met and the endorphins are running high version of them. You know what I'm saying? So you can't fall off of that alone. You got to stop that. And because when you start falling for just looks only, and you falling for the chemistry only and the attraction only, I know I've done it before. I just forget all about the other things that I needed to be looking for. And if I see a red flag or like a yellow flag even, or a glimpse of something that doesn't seem right, I'm saying to myself like, well, maybe it work itself out. I question my intuition on purpose because I really want this person that I have all this chemistry with. I really want them because I'm like, this because it feels good. I never felt like that. Especially don't let them be love bombing you and telling you that they attracted to you too and how good you look and all of that. Or don't let them be doing all the things that you want and saying all the things that you wanted to hear and never heard. All of that is nice and all, but you got to come back to reality and realize that it's more than that. You got to also stay grounded and pay attention to other signs. Look for red flags. You got to also make sure they're right in every other way. It can be all your other needs. You got to look for all the things. You can't get too carried away just because you have chemistry. That can also lead to you getting heartbroken again because you didn't vet them properly. You just liked how the chemistry felt and went with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got on my list. So, like I said, all these things, I'm not saying that if you do all these things, you won't ever be hurt again. I'm saying that, you won't break into two. Like, who you are as a person just won't break. And you won't be hit rock bottom. You shouldn't be hitting rock bottom from every relationship ending, Yes, you can have a broken heart and be hurt of it, but it doesn't have to hurt so deeply. A heartbreak doesn't have to tear you apart, girlfriends, is what I'm saying. Not every ending is going to be that traumatic for you. It's not. And you can ensure that if you go in with a clearer head, if you go in not losing yourself, that is the main thing I feel. If you go in and you keep yourself and you keep some of you for you and you go into a connection, then if and when it ever breaks and it just doesn't work, yeah, you'll be sad. Yeah, you may cry. Yeah, it may hurt. But it's not going to break you down to the point to where you don't even know who you are anymore. You'll rebuild yourself and you'll be okay. So not every heartbreak is going to hurt like that. And that, I hope, can give you some sense of bravery when trying to love again. Because I know most of you all that listen to this are lover girlies and you really want love and you love love. And I want you to keep being that way. Don't stop loving love. Don't stop being who you are. You just got to stop being who you are to certain people, So that's all I got for this podcast episode. I have ran over. I'm going to be a little late for work because I did this on my break. Yes, your girl still has to work a 9 to 5. And I just had a little extra time off the phones because we are slow. But yeah, I'm a little over, but it'll be all right. It'll be covered. But that's all I got. I do one-on-one coaching. And keep in mind, my one-on-one coaching is not therapy. It can supplement therapy. It's just basically to help you to get back on track, like after heartbreaks, and how to date better, and how to change your mindset when it comes to certain things. We do shadow work. I do actually get to the root of things, but it's not therapy. But I do have a bachelor's degree to where I have had therapy courses and counseling and psychology courses because I have a bachelor's degree in human services. So I do know a little bit. I just didn't go all the way to be an actual therapist because I don't really want to be a therapist, to be honest. I really want to be a writer. I really just want to work in these books and write. I love doing it. And I love doing these podcasts and things. So coaching is just something extra I do. To help you all, because a lot of people ask me for that. I've been doing it for years now. So check me out on my Patreon, or I have pronto coaching calls where you can schedule something one time and not do a subscription base. But check out my books, my journal, all that good stuff in I'veBeenThatGirl.net. All the links, everything is there. So that's all I got for this podcast episode, girlies. So until the next podcast episode, peace out.